Hey guys, welcome to or welcome back to the channel. If you're new, thank you so much for joining us, and please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're a returning viewer, I so appreciate you rocking with your girl. Thanks for coming back. So today we're talking about Gabrielle Union and how the internet is apparently in a frenzy over her recent interview with Dax Shepard. Now, if you guys don't know who Dax Shepard is, in my mind, he got famous from that show Punk'd with Ashton Kutcher back in the day. He's a comedic actor. He's in a lot of rom-com, funny films. And everybody knows who Gabrielle Union is. So she goes on his podcast to talk about her first failed marriage to ex-NFL player Chris Howard. And this is how it went.
You were always married during all this stuff.
I was always married, but that first go round,
Okay.
I definitely was not getting Wife of the Year awards.
Okay, good.
I had some focus issues.
Sure.
You know?
Listen. We had this weird moment. Chris and I were watching White Lotus. Do you watch White Lotus?
I'm still on the first season.
No spoilers.
The point is, we're watching it, and I have this moment, and I go, man, I have so much regret over what I put some women through, particularly infidelity-wise. It's just shameful. It's terrible. So I'm saying this out loud. I'm saying, it's so regrettable and shameful. And I'm sometimes glad I did it. Like, life's short, and it's one trip here. It's complicated for me. I'm glad I took some of the opportunities that came my way. I don't know.
Well, in our first marriage, neither one of us felt like the marriage should get in the way of our dating. Right. And so
Oh my God. That
part of it
you
was
and I
like
are identical. I was
keeping up with his activities. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's what you're doing? Oh, you're going to feel this one.
Right.
And
Okay.
I just felt entitled to it as well. I was paying all the bills. I was working my ass off, and I felt like that's what comes, the spoils of riches.
Yeah.
And like my dad before me, whoever has the most gets to do whatever the hell they want, is what I thought.
Yes.
And it was just dysfunctional from day one.
Yeah. I was in a 9-year-long open relationship.
Oh, so you had
I had permission.
Yeah, but maybe not from the girls you were dating. They might have got screwed.
Well, no, I never ever lied to anyone. I'm like, hey, I'm in love with my girlfriend Brie. I live with her. We're going to have babies. If you want to have a blast tonight, that's an option as well. It was always that way. Now, what I willfully denied is that despite them saying, yeah, that's great, that might not leave them heartbroken or damaged or something else.
I think when you're
There's two ways to look at it, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
honest, right? But that can also be your justification. So I can be honest with you. I meet you, Gab. Here's my situation. If you're down for that, cool. Yeah, I'm totally down for that. But I can see in your eyes, because I can, you're not really down for that. But I'm kind of skating under the cover fire of I'm honest. But my internal, my ethics know.
I'm hurting
She's
this
going
person.
along because that's all she can have. And it's probably not really that cool for me to do this. Now, there were others that just were horny and wanted to fucking see you peace out. That's great. But there were other people that certainly felt differently. And that bums me out. I have guilt over that.
I wish I had more guilt for some of that. I think it was such a stupid relationship that should have never gotten out of the dating phase.
Yeah.
We were gifted therapy, and the first session, the therapist was like, that's literally what she said. I don't know how you guys made it out of the dating phase.
Wow.
And we should probably look for a way to amicably
Dissolve.
Yeah,
Wow.
because you have not one thing in common. No morals, no values, no scruples. The one thing you both have in common is other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So why don't you just go be with other people?
my
You
God.
guys are identical in that
funny.
you're super horny for other people.
Yeah, well, I was horny for validation.
Yes.
And having certain kinds of guys like me and want me. That made me feel like I was worthy and good and valuable and deserving.
So that's another thing I feel guilty about. So I do have guilt and remorse over the fact that I was hoping that the people I had deemed higher status than me, that if they liked me, I would feel higher status. That never worked. And if I'm painfully honest, I was using them. I was looking to them to regulate my own image of myself.
Okay, so overall, there was a lot said here on Gabrielle Union's part. So I did a little digging. Gabrielle Union married Chris Howard in 2001, and they stayed married until 2005. At the time the two of them got married, Gabrielle Union was 29 years old, and Chris Howard was 26 years old. We can tell that Gabrielle Union has a history of dating younger men. because she's currently married to Dwayne Wade, and he is significantly younger, if I'm not mistaken, than she is. I think it's something like a 10-year age gap. This is 2001. Chris Howard had just retired the year before from his football career. So she's at the peak of her movie career. This is a time where movies like Bring It On, Two Can Play That Game, those two movies had just come out. She was gearing up to be in the movies Deliver Us from Eva and Cradle to the Grave, which were also two of her biggest movies of all time. So that's coming off of 4 really big movies. So she's really at the peak of her success at this moment that she's married to this man. And while she's married to him, she discusses how she felt entitled. She actually used the word entitled, and I thought her use of entitled in her vocabulary was interesting. And the reason I thought it was interesting is because that word literally means that you feel you're deserving of privileges or special treatment. So you're telling me that you felt like you deserved, as a married woman, to be able to spread your legs to other men. In other words, you think that being able to sleep around is a special privilege. To break your marriage vows because you were making so much money, you were so successful that you felt like you did not have to adhere to the laws of marriage. Let that sink in. She literally says she was making all the money, so she thought she could do whatever she wanted, just like her dad. So that's telling us that she had a bad example. When she was growing up, she basically watched her father do whatever the hell he wanted, probably walked all over her mom, and she decided somewhere along the way that she was going to emulate him. She was going to be the breadwinner, so no man could ever do that to her. She could turn around and do that to them. Or it was going to be tit for tat. You do it, I do it. I'm not going to be sitting at home while you're out making all the money and getting cheated on. We're going to cheat on each other. That's pretty much her mentality. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason it is so important to be careful who you choose as a life partner. You need to be sure of the person that you are raising your children with so that you can set a good example. Otherwise, history repeats itself. And this is a good example of that. Now, thankfully, these two people did not procreate. They didn't have children. I don't know if it was because of Gabrielle's infertility issues, or if it was out of choice. But either way, these two did not have kids together, because if they had, just imagine the type of environment they would have grown up in. So that's one good thing that happened from their marriage, or didn't happen in their marriage. So for me, what makes it worse is later on in the conversation, Dax Shepard says that he feels some kind of guilt sometimes about the things that happened when he was in an open relationship. And what was disturbing to me was Gabrielle's response that she wished she had more guilt. That tells me that she maybe didn't learn anything when she was in this relationship. Maybe she carried these traits and habits into her current marriage. And now that she's raising a child with Dwayne Wade, it makes you wonder, is this what's going on in her marriage right now? Is this what she's exposing her children to? Is she cheating on her husband as he cheats on her, and vice versa? We all know that Dwayne Wade notoriously had a baby on her. Do we really think that she let that slide? She just let that go, forgave him, and they moved on happily in their marriage? What do you guys think? I think that if I were Dwayne Wade and I heard this interview from my wife, I would be worried. I would be looking over my shoulder. I would be giving my wife the side eye. She mentions that she was horny for validation, and that's the reason that she stepped out on her marriage. So what happens when she becomes horny for validation again? Is she gonna step out in her marriage again? Now, of course, I understand that people grow, people evolve, people change. I get that. I know better than anybody else. Okay? But boy, does it make you wonder that she could just so nonchalantly talk about her ex and her marriage to her ex in this way. Those are just my thoughts on the topic. I mean, what do I know? I'm just a YouTuber. Tiff with the T signing off.